All right, the recording has started, and this is the November 17th, 2020 Rook community meeting, and the first day, or day zero, if you're counting from index zero, of KubeCon. So let's jump into the milestones because we just had a big 1.5 release that went out, and the intent was to get that out before KubeCon. So let's jump into some of these here. 1.3, I don't think we're having any patches or servicing going out for 1.3 that we have planned at least. So maybe we can hop to 1.4 first and talk about some of the things we may patch or backport there.
Yeah, 1.4 has been pretty stable. I don't know that we have any urgent need to get another release out. So I think we'll hold this thought maybe another couple of weeks till after the Thanksgiving holiday, and then maybe in a couple of weeks we'll do another one if needed. I think there's already been something backported since the .7 release last week. So we should do another update, but we can wait a couple more weeks, I think.
There's nothing pressing that we're aware of, though.
Right.
Got it. All right, let's talk about 1.5 then. Mm-hmm. So first of all, great release to get out. And that was done on Friday of last week. So it's still fresh and hot off the presses there. So yep. We are planning a 1.5.1, a patch for this week. It looks like, Travis, do you want to fill us in on that more?
Yeah, so just to follow the usual pattern of, after release, we look for any urgent issues we need to fix and do a release within 1 week after. So I think Thursday is just the target. There are a couple of issues that come up, nothing super urgent, I think, so far. But we'll just plan on that first release on Thursday, I think, since that gives us a lead on Thanksgiving before some of us are out too. There's one issue around the object bucket claims. Somebody said they couldn't get it working in 1.5, but it was working previously for them. Then
did a fix for that already go into master and get backported, Travis, or is that on the board here?
No, I think it didn't get tagged yet.
Okay.
I didn't review this board this morning, unfortunately.
Oh, got it.
It's not all up to date. I'll do that. Yep. And then there's some other changes coming in that would be good to have in the release. But yeah, overall, it's been a pretty quiet weekend as far as since the 1.5 release, or maybe people just haven't installed it yet. But I think that's about it. Yep, just following up and trying to keep an eye on issues people might be hitting.
Awesome. That sounds great. Any other comments about the 1.5 release or issues that are on our radar to be patching and backporting? Okay. All right. Well, we will. Yeah, thanks for the efforts to get that release out, and we'll follow up with the 1.5.1 as mentioned later on this week, targeting Thursday. So that's all the news on releases. It's good to get the quarterly release out there. And then Matt Heilman did confirm that he'll be able to provide images for us or icons for the blog posts for upcoming releases. So we just give him a week's lead time, and he'll be able to whip up a little image for us to use there, so we can let our artistic skills go unsharpened and dull again.
Well, yeah. How bad was my image? I just have to ask.
Oh, it's great. Are you kidding me? With my artistic eye, it looks fantastic.
Right. At least for the engineering eye, it looks okay. Then.
Yeah, it looks great. Come on.
Yeah.
All right. So as we talked about, KubeCon in North America is ongoing right now as we speak. Friday afternoon Eastern time and later evening European time, there is the Rook talk, and a live Q&A afterwards that Blaine Alexander and Travis, I thought you weren't able to make it to that.
Yeah, I've got an update. My travel schedule changed a bit, so I'll be able to be online for that.
Cool. Okay. Yep. So the three of you all will be more than enough to handle the Q&A there. So that's all in good hands. Thank you, folks, for stepping up to do that. Okay. Anything, if there's anything else about KubeCon, feel free to share that either in Slack or chime in, during this meeting here, or, I think really the big presence that we have is being mentioned in the keynotes, for the project updates that we get around being graduated, and the talk that we have on Friday. So that's pretty much our big thing. We don't have a Rook booth this time. The CNCF only gave out five total booths. We decided we weren't going to invest in one anyway. So not too much KubeCon presence going on here, but it'd be nice when they're in person again. Maybe late next year. Who knows?
Yeah, I just added a note there that the keynote where they're talking about project updates as far as CNCF projects. So they said they're going to talk about Rook this time since we graduated. Really. So Wednesday, tomorrow at 1:51 p.m. is what it says on the schedule.
Nice, excellent. Yeah, hopefully we'll be tuned in and get to hear that, and hopefully it's like a cool update too, and they sound informed about what we're doing too. Would be nice.
Yeah, hopefully my notes were enough to help the conversation.
Well, I think they were. So I don't think that any problem would be on the side of your notes.
Right. Well, yeah, by the way, if anybody doesn't have a KubeCon pass, there's a special keynote presentation pass you can get for free. You just need to sign up on the KubeCon site, and then you can listen in for at least for keynotes.
Yeah, to have access to the keynotes.
Right.
Yeah, cool, nice. Yeah, good point.
They post them all afterwards anyway, right? But anyway.
Yeah, and eventually. All right, so an update on our Helm chart.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a note there. So in this release, it was a pretty big update to our Helm chart, moving from Helm 2 to Helm 3 as far as the CI and testing and everything. And a new option was added at the same time for making the CRDs optional to be installed with the Helm chart, because CRDs have various strange behaviors with Helm. But I feel good about leaving them in the Helm chart by default. And we actually cannot remove them from the Helm chart by default, because during upgrades, if we remove them from the Helm chart by default, it kills your cluster. Your resources all get deleted, like all of them. So there's an option now. So in new clusters, you can choose to not install the CRDs if you want to manage them separately. But if you change that setting and you upgrade, your cluster will be killed. And I haven't found a way that we can prevent that from happening. The best thing I can do is just to put in our docs a big warning saying, don't change this for upgraded clusters. And I guess I wanted to ask if anybody else has any other ideas on how to approach that problem. It's kind of a dangerous option to have, but one that some people really want.
I don't think there's really another way, because well, that's how Ceph, not Ceph. That's how Helm works.
Helm, right.
That's Maybe someone else has an idea, but at least that's from all experience with CRDs and all, that's always a pain point.
Yeah. So anybody else learned anything besides how to add big warning Helm chart help text on our docs? Then that's my plan, just to make the better docs. Because one user did say that he deleted his cluster by changing that because he didn't read our docs, even though there are warnings in several places to not do it. Apparently the warnings weren't big enough. So,
and what's the scenario for having the CRDs disabled? Like, what does that accomplish exactly?
Well, if it was my cluster, I don't think I would want to have that option. But yeah, there are a couple of users that just said that they want to manage them separately, because there's a few reasons Helm recommends not having them managed with a Helm chart, because you need to choose when to upgrade them, or if you have multiple Ceph clusters, for example, you'd want the CRDs installed in one place, although the Helm chart can still do that for you anyway. But Some people they just like them separate, and I'm not
Okay.
clear why they wouldn't just let them be managed with us. Yeah. Okay. That's it.
Okay. But cool. Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, if that option is in there, I don't. I mean, maybe there's some hooks we could add to the chart to handle that, but I don't know how much logic you get to invoke, or how much like how much flow you could actually have in there to like kind of block that type of change during an upgrade. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's not like there's an admission controller for Helm settings. So, at least not that I know. That's what we would need.
Okay, so CI, we can move on to that there. Not running Jenkins by default is super cool. I think collective headaches maybe just subsided amongst this group.
Yeah, so kudos to Subham and Sebastian for working through getting our integration tests running on GitHub Actions. We're about ready to merge the last PR for that you've got there. So this takes each of our suites and runs them as a GitHub action. And yeah, so for PRs, at least for now, once this is merged, we need a separate PR that modifies the Jenkins file to skip the CI basically if it's a PR. For now, we'll still keep the Jenkins builds for master and releases, but we'd like to move eventually to all GitHub actions.
Yeah, this is awesome. I absolutely love this. And then if once we're off of that too, Travis, with GitHub Actions exclusively, then that helps a lot too with our AWS bill for running Jenkins and everything like that too. So that sounds fantastic. Right. Do we see any speed ups as well too? Like the integration tests, like the time that they take to run, is that any better or worse or different than with Jenkins?
Seb, do you want to speak to that or other things?
Well, I guess the only thing I can tell is that the longest run was 18 minutes total.
That's short.
Yeah, and previously when we had to go through the pipeline, we were like at some point we were up to an hour. Before that, we managed to reduce it to 40 or 45 minutes. But because it's a pipeline and then you have to build and do the unit tests, and because you also have to wait for the worker to be available, where on the GitHub action, you just get a worker immediately, then all of those things like really adds up. And right now, just to see that building plus running the suite takes, for at least a single one, takes up to 18 minutes I think it's really awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love everything about this, and like the speed, like if it's more reliable. Yeah, what about reliability? Is that looking good too? Because we've had intermittent issues with our tests for the longest time.
I just found one which I've registered, and I think I haven't seen it for like a week or two.
Really?
Yeah, it's super intermittent, but I think it's more or less like a timing issue. When we create partitions, like we should be waiting a bit more for the kernel to prop devices, but it is like so infrequent that I don't really feel like working on it right now. But it is, other than this one, I don't think we have seen any intermittent failures at this point. It's really fresh, but at least on other tests, they consistently go green if we don't change anything. And we don't have things like random failures at this point.
So every dimension is better.
Every dimension, yeah.
Speed, reliability, cost.
Yeah. And because we are, you were there, but because we are a graduated project now, we get more rate limits for the repo. So it's not like we will be limited.
GitHub actions.
Yeah, I think it was 60.
Did we get those 60 GitHub actions?
I don't know if yet.
Yeah, I don't know if it had gone.
I don't have
through yet.
access to the org, but I think you can see it under the org and the bills or something. So if you see that we have more, then it's better. But I mean, at this point, it's not like we have seen any. And even if we do, I think it's really acceptable because from the shortest to the longest, I think on average we are about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes, maybe less. So even if we have to wait a bit, then we just have to wait like max 10 minutes on average to get a worker. So it's, well, at least for now, it's really acceptable.
Mm.
We still haven't seen the limit to those actions. So that's one, I think it's a major milestone for us right now. And what's next is that to fully convert and fully completely move away from Jenkins, we would have to implement an action, a hook action to do releases and do build releases. And that can be done as well. So we just need to investigate a bit more and connect our Docker account, which actually brings me to an interesting question, which is not in the agenda. And maybe if we're done with this one, I think it's a good segue because we recently Docker announced that they really, now I think it was November 2nd, they're really enforcing their rate limiting. I don't think we have seen any impact on that, but maybe because we're actually paying for a Docker account. So I was just trying to clarify what our usage and what our bill or just type of account do we have for Docker?
Do we pay for Docker or Docker Hub?
I think we do because we have two flavors. Like we have AMD 64 and ARM. And if you look at the Docker account, then we don't see them. And I think the only way to hide a repo is to
private repos.
Private, so you have to kind of pay for that. So maybe because we pay something, we won't be impacted by the rate limits. At least we haven't seen anything failing on that so far. And the announcement is 2 weeks old, so
nobody's complained about it. So
yeah, nobody.
I guess I don't remember that announcement or the details. So does that mean for free Docker Hub accounts, they're going to limit how many downloads type of thing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a whole huge kerfluffle that people are angry about. We have 20 free, sorry, not 20 free, but we pay for 20 private repositories per month is our plan, Sebastian.
Okay.
So I don't know what impact that has on rate limiting then exactly, because it's a bit confusing, like the messaging around it and what the actual impact is and such. But but we do have some sort of a paid plan, yes.
So maybe we don't really see any effects yet. And yeah, I agree with you, Jared. It's really hard to quantify, I guess, what those limits would apply and how they might be triggered and how we might be impacted. And I see that at least internally, we got an email about this and it looks like everyone is freaking out. And because obviously Quay is Red Hat and a lot of projects are moving on Quay. So yeah, maybe it's a subject for another meeting, but I mean, if we don't see any problems right now, we should just stay on Docker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they do have a an open source project plan too that you can apply to. I remember hearing somebody mention that is kind of a bit of a workaround, I suppose, to get exempted or approved to not have the rate limits enforced. So that might be something to look at as well too, like this open source application guide here.
Because I know that Ceph and like many Ceph projects under the Ceph umbrella, Ceph, Ceph Ansible, they have moved to their own Quay instances. They don't use Docker anymore.
So yeah. Ceph did?
Yeah, for the whip branches, like when you push a patch in Ceph and
Okay.
and you push it into like Ceph CI, then you get a container image build, and it's under a dedicated Quay instance, not the Quay, not the official one.
So
It's
just
like
not the
Ceph
main
Quay.
Ceph repo.
Yeah, the Ceph main repo. Yeah. But not the images we do use. When I said Ceph, I said like GitHub Ceph, not the Docker Ceph images.
Right. Okay.
Just the code base.
Mhm.
Well, I guess it's more like bring awareness. Like if we see issues raising, then we know what's up.
Yeah, absolutely. We maybe should consider just applying for the open source project application thing, regardless, because it sounds like it might be helpful either way. But if we get any reports of here's a window here. Let me bring this over. I think you can see this here. So if we get any user reporting this type of behavior, like we should take action for sure to address that, either with like, well, if we haven't applied to the open source application, they do that, or increase the paid plan, or move to Quay.io, something like that. What are the long-term maintenance or plans for Quay? Is that something that'll be like in the long-term roadmap for Red Hat?
What do you mean
Red
exactly?
Hat already uses Quay for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Right, like downstream repos and things.
Oh, okay. There's not like any. It's the plan is that it will be maintained and supported for a long time in the future roadmap here.
Right? Yeah, and I think it's really like on the, well, when you look at what happened in the past, the Docker, like the Docker issue that appeared like I think 2 or 3 years ago, and then you had this little thing kind of, okay, then Red Hat is gonna write something else, and that Red Hat has Podman. So Red Hat really has moved away from Docker in general, and even more with Quay, I guess, because Red Hat doesn't even need to have a Docker registry. So yeah, no, it is fully integrated as a product, has an open source initiative too. So yeah,
cool. That's good. That's good to know. Thank you.
For upstream Rook, though, I mean, it would help reduce or prevent disruption if we just kept it on Docker Hub.
Well, yeah, that's a point I was going to make too. Is that there is a bit of a migration aspect here, right, where people would have to go update.
Yeah, definitely.
To point their container manifests to a different registry source.
Right. It would be nice if they could offer some kind of a redirect. But yeah, I haven't seen that.
How about I take an action item just to fill this guy out and see how it goes. It doesn't look like it'll hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me write that down.
Action item for Jared.
Action item for Jared. Okay, and let me take a note. Oh, come on. Okay, anywho. Okay, so then Outreachy, there's some updates from Blaine. I think you added some stuff here.
Can't hear you, Blaine. Looks like you're talking.
Yeah, you don't appear to be muted through Zoom though, but I hear like a buzz and
some audio issues.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Blaine, I can hear you. Yep.
All right, I switched to my laptop microphone. I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah, we have an Outreachy intern. We have one applicant for the disaster recovery for Cephmon's like restoring quorum project named Madavi. Whether Madavi is accepted as an intern or not will be announced November 23rd. And if, like, I'm assuming there's also a process by which Madavi either agrees to be an intern for Rook also, which is sort of the kind of, I guess, open question that we have. But those will be announced next week. And then the start date is 2 weeks from now on December 21st, if she does intern with us.
December 1st, or which day?
Yeah, it's 2 weeks from today. It's
2 weeks.
Tuesday.
Okay. Yep.
Cool. That's exciting updates, Blaine, for sure. It's great to have more contributions and growing the community there, especially with folks earlier on in their career to get that experience and be part of the community here is always fantastic.
Yeah, she's done a great job of like getting an environment where she can play with Rook, which is already not a simple task for someone who doesn't deal with this stuff every day. So
it's a bit of a ramp up, huh? Cool. Awesome, Blaine. That sounds great. So that was the end of the topics we had on the agenda. Was there any other agenda items that folks wanted to bring up? Or we can all go head on over to KubeCon to enjoy the content there.
I have a random question about KubeCon. Did everybody who's a speaker get their speaker gift?
Yes.
They had something cool in it actually that I really like for once.
What is it? The little like
I'm-
thing that like
This thing?
Yeah, I love that thing.
Yeah,
That thing is, I enjoy that thing. I play with it a
with
lot.
it right now.
Nice.
For
The
those who don't
slippers.
have it, it starts as this thing and then it opens up into a nice.
Oh,
Yeah, you
wow.
can roll
Yeah.
roll it up and down your arm too.
Anyway,
Yeah, I got it delivered, but got it delivered to my parents' home because we're moving soon, and I was kind of
Right.
like, because I actually previous speaker gift I had registered, and I actually never got it. Where this time I registered, and like 2 days later it was delivered. So I don't know what went wrong. Yeah.
They got the process figured out, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, the slippers were not quite as cool.
For disposable slippers.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah. Anyway, that's all.
Cool. Alrighty. Cool. Well, hopefully we'll see folks at KubeCon, and we'll see you all online, and we'll be working towards the 1.5.1 patch release later on this week.
All right.
Alrighty.
Thanks,
Thanks
everyone.
everybody. See ya.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.